In this video, we are going to discuss about the introduction of the immune system. So, first is the what is meant by immunology. So, immunology is the science that is concerned with the immune response to foreign germs. And immunity is a word derived from the Latin word term that is the immunes, which meaning accept or save from something. So, immunity is defined as development of resistance against infection or resistance to infectious disease or state of protection from the immune disease. That is called as a immunity. So, what is the exact role of this immune system? So, first one is the defense against the microbes. Okay, then defense against the growth of tumor cells. The immune system kill the growth of tumor cells, and they also play as a homeostasis, in which destruction of the abnormal or dead cells, for example, dead red or white blood cells, then antigen antibody complex is carried out by the immune system. So basically, this immune system or immunity is divided into the two types. First one is the innate immunity, and second one is the adaptive immunity. And this adaptive immunity again classified as the natural and the artificial immune system. Then natural is against divided as the active immunity and passive immunity. Same artificial is divided into two types, that is active and passive immunity. So first we discuss about the innate immunity. So what are the features of this innate immunity? So this innate immunity is also called as a native or natural immunity. Its presence is the birth and consists of the many factors that are relatively non-specific, that is it operates against almost any foreign molecules and pathogens. It is also called as a first line of defense because it provides the first line of defense against the pathogens. Then, it is not specific to any one pathogen but rather act against all foreign molecules and pathogens. It also does not rely on previous exposure to a pathogen, and response is a function since birth, and it has no memory. So next is the what are the components of the immune system. So components of immune system consist of physical barrier, then the macrophages, natural killer cells, antigen presenting cells, then soluble mediators, then the complement proteins, cytokines, and different pattern recognition molecules. So depending upon the action, this innate immunity phase again divided into two types, that is the first step and second step. So first step, which include the mechanical barrier, chemical and biochemical inhibitors, and normal bacterial. Whereas the second step include the cells, including the natural killer cells, phagocytes, soluble factors, and inflammatory barriers. So first one is the first step, that is the mechanical barrier. That can be also called as the physical barrier. So physical barrier is the first lines of defense against the microorganisms. It includes the skin, mucous membrane, then mucous secretion, etc. So most organisms and foreign systems cannot penetrate intact skin but enter into the body if the skin is damaged. Secondly, the acidic pH of the sweat, then sebaceous secretions, that is also we can call the mucous secretions. So, in the presence of various fatty acids and the hydrolytic enzymes like the lysozymes inhibit the growth of most microorganisms. Similarly, respiratory and gastrointestinal tract are linked by the mucous membrane, and this mucous membrane entrap the foreign microorganisms. So the respiratory tract is also covered by the cilia. Okay, so which are hair-like projection of epithelial cell membrane. It's also play as a components of the innate immunity. Then the synchronous movement of the cilia propels the mucous entrap microorganism outside of this tract. Similarly, conjunctiva is a specialized mucus secreting epithelial membrane that is the line of the interior surface of each eye lid. It keep the it play as a it play or it play a role as a immune system, like it keep the moist by the continuous flushing action of tears, and this tears contain the fluid that is the lacrimal fluid, which is secreted by the lacrimal glands. Then these tears also contain the lysozymes lactoferrin, then the immunoglobulin A, and thus provides the chemical as well as physical protection. Then next one is the chemical or biochemical inhibitor. So, in which we had already discussed about these secretions. Then next is the normal flora, okay, which is present in intestinal tract. For example, lactobacillus. They also play as a components of the innate immunity, and they provide the immunity to the body. Then next is the chemical mediator, which include the components like the cytokines, then pattern recognition molecules, then acute phase protein, cationic peptides, enzymes, etc. So these chemical mediators are the components of the immune system in the second step. Okay, so we discuss this one by one. First one is the complement proteins. So complement proteins are soluble proteins, glycoproteins that are mainly synthesized by the liver and circulate in the blood and extracellular fluid. Then they were originally identified their ability to amplify and complement the actions of antibody. Hence, the name is the complement. It also called as a breach between the innate and adaptive immunity, and removes the immunocomplex. Then the complement system is composed of over 30, almost over 30 proteins. Activations of complement protein in response to certain microorganisms result in a controlled enzymatic cascade, which target the membrane of pathogenic organism and leads to their destruction. Second component is the cytokine. Okay, so the cytokines are the generic term. Okay, mostly used for the low molecular weight soluble protein or glycoprotein released by cell population, and it also act as an intracellular mediator. So there are different types of cytokines are present in the body or secreted in the body, which include the monokines, lymphokines, interleukins, interferons, etc. And cytokines are required for the immunoregulation of both the innate as well as adaptive immunity. Then one of the example of cytokines is the interferon, and this interferon is made by the cell in response to virus infection, which essentially induces a generalized antiviral state in the surrounding cells. Then second one component is the chemokine, which are the small positively charged secreted proteins, and have a central role in guiding the migrations of various types of white blood cells. Then next is the pattern recognition molecule. So these pattern recognition molecules involve the in the innate immunity have the ability to recognize given class of molecule. They are different molecules, and this is called as a PAM, PAMP, that is stand for pathogen associated molecular pattern. Their character is that they are soluble circulating proteins, or they are also called as a cell surface receptor, and many PAMs are recognized by the pattern recognition molecule present on the surface of phagocytic cells. There are the examples which include NBL. So this NBL is a mannose binding lectin, and second one is the CRP, which is called as the C-reactive protein. So they are the soluble patterns recognition molecules that bind to microbial surface and promote their opsonization. So what is opsonization? We will discuss in next lecture. Then toll-like receptor are a class of the pattern recognition molecule that function exclusively as a signaling receptor. There are different toll-like receptor are present. For example, toll-like receptor 2, then 4, etc. Then next is the acute phase proteins. So these acute phase proteins are the heterogeneous group of the plasma proteins mainly produced in the liver as a result of the microbial stimulus. They include the C-reactive proteins, that is the CRP, then serum amyloid protein, that is the capital SAA, and mannose binding protein MBP. Then cytokines, examples are the interleukin 1, 6, 8, etc. So they released by the macrophages upon activation by bacterial stimulation in the liver and rapidly produce the acute phase proteins. So these all are the components of the innate immunity.